Okay, just want to letting everybody kind of gather in, join into this webinar. Seeing viewers popping in right now. If you notice the interface of the Google Hangout, there should be a Q&A taskbar on the left-hand side. Becomes active when you scroll your cursor off to the left-hand side. And there should be, towards the top, it's like a blue icon. It says chat. And then below it, about 3 spots down, there's a Q&A. I think we're going to try to utilize those features to let some of the participants or people that are in this webinar and ask any questions that they may have regarding this class. So we're going to kind of utilize those features. All right. I'll kind of give you guys a second to find those. I put a little chat. I wrote, is anybody in here yet? If you want to respond, make sure that that's working, functioning properly. I'll just write a chat right now, see if it comes up. All right. Okay, just wrote that. If you guys want to respond to that chat, make sure you guys are here. And also the Q&A is live too. I enabled that feature. I'll go ahead and ask a question within that. So somebody want to just submit me a question? All right, Tanya, I got your question. Very nice. That's functioning. Looks like we're having some other people having technical difficulties because I see people joining and exiting. Okay. All right, I'm just going to start. Time is of the essence. And let's just jump right in. As people come in, they're going to kind of disrupt the flow of the webinar, but let's dive in. Well, I'd like to say thanks if you guys are interested in this class. I think it's going to be very beneficial. And you guys are going to gain a lot of knowledge from it. It is it's a 5-day course as advertised, but I'm also going to throw in a 6-day for free. Just kind of announced that, came up with that about 2 days ago. I think a lot of guys are going to benefit from that 6-day, kind of ask more, you know, exact questions that you may have regarding coloring, or if you're struggling with this, or what would you do here. Discuss maybe some potential projects you may have on the horizon. So, you know, as advertised, it's 18th to the 22nd. That's 5 days. We're throwing the 6-day in. Then you kind of get a chance to kind of network with the other artists. So I think it's going to be great. So let's just jump right in here now. Let's see if I can get that screen share up, and we'll start this slideshow. Okay. And let me go view full screen on that. Okay. So because of this interface too, I got to jump back and forth. So I'll have to be checking for questions intermittently throughout this presentation. So if you have a question, like I said, I'm going to be checking as I move through this presentation. So just be patient. All right. So here's a quick overview of the training. This is kind of the webinar outline right now. Purpose of this webinar to kind of discuss, encompass everything that has to do with this training session. Want to know what you're expecting for the money you're spending, what you're going to get out of it, what's the syllabus, the workflow. There's going to be a lot of hard work. Is it going to be long days, long nights, that kind of thing. So kind of want to just touch on all these things. Also, I'm going to provide a general outline of techniques students will learn from this workshop. We're also going to get into some flight, lodging, payment schedule, and other related logistics. So, so that's kind of the purpose of this webinar. All right, here's the syllabus. Also, too, let me just interject. There's going to be a YouTube video on this. I mean, you guys can take notes, but there's going to be a recorded video that you guys can review for yourself after this webinar has already been conducted. So you can kind of go back and look at it, make notes, that kind of thing. Send me some emails. You got any questions? I urge you guys to send me an email. That'd be great. So I'm going to kind of break these down. So here's the syllabus. Got the design process. All right, very important. You don't want to skimp out on this. This is great projects start from great planning. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So selection of materials used, we're going to get into that, what materials, how to kind of modify those materials to suit the finish that you're looking for. You guys are going to gain a lot of knowledge off that. We're going to get into the erection of the forms for rock work. All right, we're also going to cover foam and steel methods. And the foam and steel, let me just touch on that. Foam and steel, we're going to do a hybrid. I think guys can get a lot of knowledge off that because then they'll be able to walk away and say, all right, foam would work here or steel has to go here. So this is kind of great, best of both worlds. I don't know if you guys are watching any of my work, but I've been utilizing a lot of foam lately. And we're going to touch on how to properly prepare that. Obviously cut, prepare, and make sure it survives in inclement weather. Hard coat methods is basically your scratch coat. So hard coat for steel and lath, hard coat for foam. Moving on, getting some of the textural stuff. You got your wet shape techniques. That's just basically putting the mud up, and that's a critical point. Guys that are going to go to this class are going to gain a lot of knowledge. That's a lot of the fine finishing is set up in the wet shape. All right. After that, shape modifications, going through, doing problematic areas, picking out the areas that need to be modified. We're also going to be, texturing devices. What different texturing devices are used out there? What do I like? What do other people use? That kind of thing. And obviously the finishing stage is color theory and color application. Color theory is big, how you want your piece to read. We'll get into some techniques on that. And obviously the color application, how are we applying the color? What are we using? We're using paints, stains, integral color. How are we putting it on? HVLP, squirt guns, splashing it on. There's a lot of different techniques we're going to cover while we're there. All right, off to the right, you can see I got the kind of an outline of days that we're going to have an objective for each day. Day one is foam and steel hard coat. Okay, and let me stop right there. The foam and steel hard coat. I'm going down to that class early, okay, because I want to get everything set. Okay, what I'm looking for is to have a lot of the structure in place. And when I say a lot, about 85%. All right, I want to leave that 15% for the guys to see it undone. Okay, there's a lot of different skill sets coming on board that are going to participate in this class. Some people struggle in one area, and others may excel in that area. So I don't want to bore anybody with rebar, lath, and foam. I think that's a concept that once you see it and you do it a little bit, you're gonna get the idea. And we don't want to turn it into a day and a half to 2 days of bending steel and preparing foam. Although I do want to leave some of that open so guys that haven't seen it or haven't used those techniques can obtain that knowledge. So just know that going down, and that's actually going to allow us to focus more on the meat and potatoes of the class, the artistic side, the sculpting, the texturing. But just wanted to throw that in there. So day one, foam steel hard coat. Day two, carve coat, and also some hard coat and some base coat. Day three is going to be carve coat and minor alterations. What that means is if we see something that didn't quite come out right, we're going to go ahead and modify those areas. Because a lot of this process, you'll see something on the fly. This thing kind of spawns into its own life, and sometimes we'll make alterations, and I'll show you how to do that. Day four, again, more carve coat and the start of paint. Day five is the paint application, and that's going to be real fun. We got a lot of cool techniques we're going to be doing on that. You guys are going to love it. And lastly, the bonus day. Touch up, Q&A with students, meet and greet with other artists, do some networking. If you got pictures of your portfolio of, hey, this is what I'm struggling with, urge you guys to bring it on down, and we'll take a look at it. I think it's going to be a fun day. We have some sodas, and I think it's going to be a great day. I'm going to just see if anybody's got any questions thus far. I'm going to jump back in this 1 second. All right. All right. No questions thus far. Beautiful. Okay. Let me jump back in here. All right. If you guys haven't seen it, this is the rendering. I'm sure a lot of you seen it. This exhibit is for a species known to Africa. It's called the rock hyrax, and they're native to Africa. It's actually one of the closest relatives to the elephant. Go figure. But this species was relatively small, and it, like I said, it resides in Africa natively. But the cool thing about this is that we're not doing African rock. No disrespect to the continent of Africa, but the rock that you typically see in the Serengeti and those climates, that type of region of the world, is round, eroded, soft looking, not elephant poop, but it's if you don't have the skill, it doesn't look good. It's not something you want to reproduce in a small scale, meaning like 18 feet, 17 feet wide by 12 feet. Because then it's just going to look like Easter eggs stacked up on one another. So the director of operations for the zoo has allowed us to give us free artistic liberty in producing, the sharp, non-eroded, hardline geometry rock, which I think for that scale looks good. Don't get me wrong, I love eroded rock. It's got its place, but it's something that's small. It can look a little funny with what they call the cop G rock. So I'm really, really excited that he's allowed us to do that. So this is a cool piece. I think it's going to come out really nice. I'm really excited. Is the negative space. If you're looking at this rendering, you can see that rock feature. You can see how that top portion of the rocks, you can see that negative space it's leaving, as opposed to just a straight line. That's kind of a key feature. We're going to get into more of that, the meat and potatoes on that when I get down there, and other areas that I tend to focus on. And again, this rendering doesn't really represent the exact thing. This kind of gives us an idea of our shapes, right? We got some large rock, we got some smaller pieces, going to be some highly fractured areas. And also, you guys are going to leave with some of the design criteria that is essential for doing any type of zoo. The cool thing is you guys can go to your respective cities, towns, and you're going to have a portfolio piece of a zoo that you've completed, which I think is going to be really cool because the design criteria for the zoo is kind of unique. The zookeeper's got to go in there with the hoses. They got to wash everything down. The water needs to flow a certain way. You don't want a whole lot of puddling. Again, these animals are basically going to the bathroom all over the rock, and this is an indoor zoo, so they got to get in there and clean that stuff up, with the brushes and brooms. So we're gonna, I think it's gonna be really key to understand what it takes to do a zoo. And the director of operations who handles all the zookeepers is going to be on site. Any questions, he'll be more than glad to answer them for you guys. So any questions thus far, guys? I'm going to check the questions thing one more time. Okay, looks like no questions. Beautiful. Okay. All right. Excuse me, get something to drink here. All right. How will this class benefit me? All right, we're doing a zoo. Not everybody's going to be doing a zoo, but what are some of the things and you're going to learn, take away that are going to transfer to the private sector or residential construction world? This kind of outlines that. These are kind of the fundamental pillars, as I call them. You can see I got them outlined there. We'll just kind of touch on them. The importance of proper geometry is key. There's a lot of people doing rock out there. Some good, some bad, some in the middle. Not for me to judge, but just some of the things that I look for when I'm constructing my own piece. And obviously, number one is proper geometry. The shapes need to look right. Don't skimp out on that. Number two, just like any other artistic or photographer, artist, utilizing rule of thirds. I use it in my pieces all the time, and I use it from the geometry side as well as the paint side. We're going to go more into that later. 3, create the compositional points of interest. Those are the things that are going to make your eye move around the piece. Not every client or budget is going to allow you to sit there and what we call noodle or doodle on the piece until it looks right. I mean, this craft is, you got to make money at the end of the day. We get that, but you also want to obviously put out a good product. So what we do, kind of a half and half, is what we call the points of interest. And we're going to get into that, where to spend your time, where to not spend your time on the piece. Number 4 is design considerations. Like we were just talking about the zoo, there's criteria involved with that. If you're doing a retaining wall, if you're doing a water feature, any type of hardscape system, there's always design considerations. Very, 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 highlight, italicized, and bolded letters there. Number 5, how can texture describe your rock feature? That's a big one. A lot of times, not to get into some of the details, but if you guys are shotcreting or spraying or what, a lot of times we leave some of those little, what we call gun marks, and they're like little fuzzy pieces of cement that got stuck on there. Paint those up. I mean, they're going to add to your piece so your piece doesn't look so sterile. Number 6, color theory and application. Again, I touched on that at the beginning. Really big. We're going to discuss, what warm colors, cool colors. How can we make things look like it's aged? How do we make it look like it's fresh, like a fresh break? How to distress the rock, scarring, all that good stuff. We're going to get into that. So those are the 6 fundamental pillars. Okay. let you guys read that. It's what can I create with the skills learned. So many features of this workshop be cross-platform, meaning skills learned can be used to create an array of items and features. There's a bullet list of them. And you get your hardscapes, rock fire features. We'll talk about that. I guess that 6 day is going to be really nice because if you have any ideas, springtime's going to be on the horizon. You may have some ideas that you want to put in the marketplace. We could discuss that and pick my brain, maybe pick some other artist brain. I think it's going to be a great bonus day. You get the rock signage, rock climbing walls, facades, fireplaces. It's unlimited. I don't have enough bullet spots to list all that, but I think it's going to be really cool having that 6 day. And these are some of the skills that are directly correlate to the skills that you're going to learn by doing the zoo project with me. Kind of a big question here. All right, there's been a lot of trainings out there thus far. I'm trying to talk to all the participants to see what's the best way they learn, and also how don't they learn. Some people like the hands-on portion. Meaning hands-on, that could be bracketed into two items, right? Hands-on meaning grunt work. Okay, I kind of put that in parentheses there. Grunt work meaning, wheelbarrow. You got a bunch of cement. You got to go from the outside, inside, help mix. You're going to have sweat coming off your forehead. You got to be ripping and running. Some people don't mind that. Some people that bothers because they came there, they spent a lot of money between airfare, lodging, and just cost of the seminar. They don't want to get involved with that. They want to sit back, absorb the information, and do more of the hands-on with the sculpting, not necessarily the grunt work. Grabbing a shovel, putting it here, scraping the floor, running the hose. So anyway, I just kind of wanted to touch on that. I think the guys, a lot of people that I've been talking to, they love the hands-on. They want to sculpt. They want to color. They want to carve. They want to put some fractures in. That hands-on. They also want to do a little bit of rebar, but not primarily. If we spent a day and a half or 2 days on rebar, that's almost a third of the class. Actually, it is. It's a third of the total duration of the class. It's not something that my personal opinion, that it's money well spent. But that's just my point of view. Any questions on this, guys? With the grunt work, hands-on, you don't have to ask me right now. If you want it, put it in an email form, send it to me. A lot of people, just learn in different ways. So I urge you guys to ask me questions or send me an email, whatever you guys prefer. Let's see here. Check out the chat real fast. All right. All right, no questions, guys. Great. All right, moving along. Just like I touched on, we're going to have hired labor there to assist with the less exciting work. We're going to have the zoo not groundskeepers, but not laborers either, but they're going to be there to assist with making the mix, mixing it up, bringing it in from wheelbarrow. Again, this is an indoor area we're going to be working on. So my guess is we're going to be outside mixing it up, transporting it in, and that's where the hired help really comes into play. You guys can sit back, watch, learn. If you want to get your hands dirty and you got to be moving around, some people just can't stand still and they want to get right in there and get their hands dirty. We're more than happy to let you guys rip and run with that. So key point there. There you go. This will allow the students to fully absorb all the information, get a notepad, film it. I'm also going to be filming it as well. I'm going to hire a videographer to film the class. And so I think it's going to be pretty key filming it from start to finish. And yeah, I think it's going to be good. If you want to film too, bring your camera and notepad, whatever you need to record the information you're going to learn. All right, payment. It looks like we're approaching a sold out class. A lot of guys are. Some people. I'm holding seats right now. Just 2 of them. And I think we're getting payment on those by the end of the week. But it looks like we're sold out. There are going to be people from other zoos there. I think that's a cool feature all in itself. There's going to be networking there. There's a zoo from I think North Carolina and somewhere else. I don't know the state offhand, but as discussed, we're only allowing 12 students to participate to keep the class small and personal. There's 1,800. Half down is required because and the remainder is due 3 weeks prior to the class, which is December 28th. The half down is non-refundable. Obviously, pretty self-explanatory. I need to do that. In the event somebody cancels, at least that allows me time to allow another participant to join in. Okay. And then obviously the payment. Email me and I'll send you an invoice, which allow you to pay via credit card, all secure. It's through Square Up. So pretty self-explanatory there. All right, travel and lodging logistics. The closest airport is the McGahee-Tyson Airport. I think it's 20 minutes. I think it's 25 minutes away from the site, Rainforest Adventures, where we're going to be conducting the work. All right. Obviously, I put the physical location there. You guys can see there's also a phone number if you have any questions. I just talked to the director of operations. He's currently working with the nearby hotels. Right now, they're about $70 to $80 right now, and he's trying to work on a discount. There's 12 people coming, so we'll see what we can finagle there as far as cost savings. I kind of put a little sentence in here. It may be wise to arrive a day early. That time of year, weather can become inclement. Kind of your choice. So kind of hit and miss. Leave that up to you guys and see what you want to do. And that pretty much concludes everything for the webinar. I'm going to kind of take questions. Again, this has all been recorded. This will be on my YouTube channel. You can review it. And let's see here. Let me go back. All right, guys. Any questions at all thus far, guys? Kind of watch the question taskbar. Okay, I think that pretty much covers it. If nobody has any questions, that was pretty smooth. I think we got people coming, possibly we got somebody coming from Australia. I think 2 people out of Brazil. Very excited. We're going to have all different people come from all parts of the world, which is, I think, exciting. I think it's going to be wonderful. I'm really looking forward to that part. And just the networking of artists is going to be cool. Okay, Tanya, just question. You guys are booked into Nashville. Is it best to hire a car there or fly into the nearest airport? Um, what day are you flying? Are you flying in a few days early? Some people are flying into Nashville. Um, it's cheaper. It's an international airport. I don't know. Yeah, you can rent a car, um, or you can fly from Nashville. I don't know, Tanya. That's kind of your call. I mean, what's cool about that, the sightseeing. I think you explained that first time to the States, so allow a little bit of sightseeing. If that interests you, um, let me look into that and let me ask the guy, the director of operations, and see what he thinks. Okay. Okay, you ride the 16th. Oh, beautiful. So that, yeah, I mean, that might be right up your alley. Um, okay. Yeah, let me kick that around. Let me just get his point of view. And then also, if you do decide to drive, what's the best route for sightseeing? So I know that they got the Smoky Mountains around there, pretty cool to look at. So yeah, let me check on that, Tanya. We'll definitely be in contact with that. Any other questions, guys, regarding work? Okay. All right. Well, that about concludes everything. If there's any questions at all, if this webinar is over, just feel free to email me. It's info@rocksculptor.com. Ask me any questions you want. Be more than happy to answer them and get back to you. So, yeah, I'm excited, guys. Look forward to meeting everybody. Send me an email if you have any questions, and stay safe out there. God bless. Good night. Take care.